crazy than this. The next part of the story goes like this. She jumps out from behind the curtain, picks up the weapon, shouts, "You such and such," some profanities, Allahu Akbar, and starts firing. She unhooks the safety. This is in the indictment as well. So this M4 carbine, it's a big assault rifle. She picks this up, undoes the safety, and starts firing at them. Okay, they claim that she's a weapons expert, and yet, despite firing at them, she misses every single agent in the room, and she gets shot in her abdomen by a US agent. Now on the 19th of July, there's an article in the Associated Press which claims, and this is before the Americans ever reveal her location, which claims that a woman has been shot and her son has been taken into custody, and her son is in custody after an argument broke out between Americans and Afghanis, and she was shot in the crossfire between the two forces. The article the following day in the Associated Press totally negates what was said in her indictment, but unfortunately no one talks about that article, something that I'm taking up with the lawyers in the US. Now, Aafia is then placed in American custody. She's sent to Bagram where she receives medical assistance, and then she becomes the first detainee from Afghanistan to be sent to the US mainland. In the history of this war on terror, every single detainee has been sent to Bagram, to Kandahar, onto Guantanamo Bay, to other secret prisons around the world. Aafia becomes the first detainee who's picked up in Afghanistan to be sent to America, where she's given a trial in front of a federal court. For the last 5 years, they were claiming, the last 6 years, 7 years, they were claiming that she's a terrorist, that she's this, that, and the other. When she comes before the court, they say the prosecution say, we're not interested in claiming she's a terrorist. We just want to prosecute her for being a murderer or attempting to murder some US agents. So the entire trial is nothing about everything that they said about her. It's just about whether or not she shot at some US agents. It's not even about the fact that in her satchel they claimed that she had these targets of New York, which is in her indictment. So the higher offense, which is the offense of terrorism, suspected terrorism, is totally neglected. All they go after is whether or not she shot at these agents, the lesser offense of the two. And in front of a US court, in front of this jury, she's unfortunately convicted. And that's what we're waiting for now. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to really go through all of the hundreds of other inconsistencies in this case. And honestly, if I had the time, I'd have you here till midnight talking about this case. But the reality is that there are some extremely horrible things that have happened to this woman. Binyam Muhammad, on his release from Guantanamo Bay, described a Pakistani woman who was educated in the US as having been in the facility. He was told this by American guards. He described Aafia in pinpoint detail. And when Muazzam Beg showed him her photo, he said, this is the woman. This is the woman from Bagram. So where was Aafia Siddiqui for those 5 years? In our belief, in our knowledge, she was held by the US, she was in US custody. And it is an obligation on all of us to try and do whatever we can to make people realize that that is the true story, not this shooting that she's been convicted of. That's completely irrelevant in this whole story. What's relevant is why was she detained in Pakistan in 2003 and where was she kept for those years that she was missing. And inshallah, I hope that all of you will give your time and your efforts to help organizations like the Justice for Aafia Coalition in order to bring some redress for our sister and help to free her from that plight. So I can thank you for taking the time to listen.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.